All right, hopefully all this cash got your attention. We're all going to be rich, okay? Just keep watching. Anyway, I came across a problem in class a few days ago that is kind of a specialty problem, but also because of that is probably a mistake a lot of students make all the time, I'm thinking. So this is how to figure out the selling price if you get the cost and the profit margin somebody wants. For example, let's say you've got a cost of $8 on a product and you want to resell it for a profit. And let's say you want a 20% profit, which is not much, but it's enough to stay in business maybe. Okay, and maybe the question is, what is the selling price? Okay, let's use that as our hook today, our sample problem. Okay, well, here's how I've seen it done wrong. Let's start with the wrong way. Okay, wrong way, but I think we learn more from doing it the wrong way. Say, a lot of people would go, oh, what's 20%? Right? That represents 20%, 20 out of 100. What is 20% of $8? And they would get $1.60. And then they would go $8 plus $1.60 equals $9.60. Yay! And of course that is the wrong way. But let's see what went wrong here. This is what you would do if you were going to add a tip. If you had an $8 food bill and wanted to add a 20% tip, that's what you would do. But the problem with this is, if we check it and we go, okay, I've got my $9.60 selling price. If it's going to be a 20% profit, if I do 80%, this should get me back to my cost, right? 80% of my selling price is going to leave my profit. The thing is, if I do that, I get $7.68. That does not match what the problem told me. So that means it's wrong. So if you build in this check into your problem, you would catch this. Okay. So how do we do it the right way? Let me show you. Okay, the right way would be $8 is 80% of what number? Okay, because the 80 represents my cost, and this is my sell. So on the other side of my proportion here, I also need to have my cost and my sell, and that's where the common mistake happened over here. Okay, so if I do this and I just simply cross multiply, I get 80x equals 800, and you could tell what's going to happen. Hopefully you already knew the answer before we started. Okay, $10 is my selling price, and if I want to check it, I simply go, well, what is 80%, or what is my cost of the selling price of $10 with a 20% margin? And of course the answer here is $8, and then that checks out. Okay, so what we need here is we need an algorithm, or a nice easy system to remember this. An algorithm, a set way of doing things. Okay, so I like to use what's called the $1 model. I don't know if it's actually called that, but I'm going to call it that. It's just a very simple way of breaking down problems like this so we can understand. I think to learn something like this, you need a problem where you already know the answer, where you can do it in your head, and then we can extrapolate that or convert that into something that works for more complicated problems. So, if I have a cost of 60 cents, and I want I'm going to call it the DPM, the desired profit margin. Okay, I'm just going to call it the DPM, desired profit margin. If I want a desired profit margin of 40%, we know we're going to be selling that for $1, right? Now, how could we set this up in a way that it makes sense as a proportion? Okay, well, I could put my cost here, and I could put 100 minus my cost here, and I put my selling price here. Okay, let's get this all set up. So there's my cost. Here is 100 minus my cost. All right, that gives me my, whoopsie, 100 minus my DPM, my profit margin. So that also gives me my cost when it's done. So we have cost to cost, and then we have my percent sell, and we have my dollar sell. Okay, so obviously this works. If I take my cost and I do 100 minus my desired profit margin, as this is my percent side, this is my dollar side, and set it up like that, and we know the answer is $1, right? Which we can prove by doing this. Very simple. Okay, so, oh, I need another piece of paper to finish this video. Okay. So we just created an algorithm. Let's test it out and see if it works. Here's the algorithm. You put your cost as $1, and this is where the selling price is going to go. We're going to put 100 minus your desired profit margin percent over here on top of 100. Okay, ta-da! Doo-doo-doo. All right, so let's test it out. It's one thing to come up with something like that, and it's another thing to have it actually work. So here's a sample problem. Okay, if the cost is $24, and we have a desired profit margin of 30%, what is the selling price? Okay, we're going to use this because we're checking this to make sure it works, right? So I'm going to put my cost there. I'm going to put 100 minus my profit margin there. Why? Because that gives me my cost, right? That gives me the cost as a percent. And as you know, when you're doing proportions, the labeling is so important. The labeling often reveals, in fact, all the time reveals the correct setup. Okay? And X is my selling price. So we have cost over sell on the percent side, and we have cost over sell on the dollar side. Okay, we're going to cross multiply. After I simplify the right side here. And when I round off to dollars and cents, I get 34.29. And we're going to check it. How do I check it? Well, we take that 70%, right? Because that decimal represents 71/100ths. The multiplication sign represents the word of. 70% of my answer should get me back to the problem, right? And it does within 3 thousandths, okay, and this is due to the rounding. So that's close enough. That proves that this works. So if you're given a problem where they tell you what the cost and the profit margin is, there's a way to do it. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos about money and food. Thanks for watching Whitcher Math. Goodbye.